Okay, there we go. I had minor technical difficulties getting my video started today, but alas, here we are. Things seem to have rectified itself, so let's get a move on. We are talking today. This is actually the third installment of topics or recommendations that you, this incredible community, have requested of me to cover, and this one I'm really, really excited about because I think this is something that we have all struggled with so deeply, especially as women. So when I saw this topic, I thought I'm going to save this one for the very last one. Again, if you have suggestions in terms of topics we can cover or I can cover for you, please leave a comment and I will absolutely go out of my way to make sure that I make it happen because if nothing else, I am here to serve. Also, I want to draw your attention to this lipstick dress. I am so excited to wear this. It's making me feel some type of way. So this video should be pretty engaging, pretty entertaining, and informative and educational as well. So today we're talking about expressing yourself with confidence and finding your voice. I have talked to countless individuals from all over or across all social media platforms. And I seem to hear the same thing from so many of you is that you feel nervous or scared to use your voice, to speak your truth, to live authentically. You feel as though you have to wear a mask, and it could be for a wide variety of different reasons, but it's something we all seem to have in common. And I myself struggled with this for so long, far longer than I care to even admit or talk about, because there was a lot of shame for me around being my authentic self and being my loud, boisterous personality. And funnily enough, even though I'm a very loud individual, I'm very comical, I talk with my hands, I seem like I'm a complete and utter extrovert. Most of you would probably say, Denise is an extrovert. If you had to slap a label on me, that would probably be what it is. But honestly, I am quite the ambivert. I need just as much downtime as I need uptime because to put out this much energy takes a lot out of me. So I have to actually spend some time engaging in self-care as much as for me to be able to keep up with the high energy that you see when you interact with me or when you watch the videos. Anyways, so today we're talking expressing yourself confidently, and we're just going to get right to it and see where we land. So again, this is something I'm so passionate about, and I want nothing, if nothing else, for even one of you to be able to use your voice a little bit more after we talk today. I will have done my job. And remember, you have probably been like this for a substantial amount of time. So let's be sure we have a lot of patience with yourself because this is not going to change overnight. It's going to take practice. It didn't take just one day to get you to the place you're at right now. It compounded over time. So it's going to take some time to start to unravel it and be really confident in expressing yourself. But at least, at the very least, even though I dislike saying at least, I feel like I have Brené Brown on my shoulder being like, don't say at least. Anyways, at the very least, I hope that you get some tips and tricks that you can start to action right away to be able to strengthen and build confidence in expressing your voice, because confidence is actually, and I actually did a whole video on confidence. I will link it somewhere, maybe below, maybe right here, we'll see. I did a whole video on that. And what we've learned about confidence is that it can be practiced and you can learn it. It can be learned. It's not just something that you're born with. It can be learned. So that's the good news. But I don't want you to dim your light anymore, because your light deserves to shine brightly. You are a unique, incredible being, and you deserve to show everybody the real, true, honest you and to speak with confidence. So let's get into it. Why are you here? Why are you watching this video? If the thought of expressing yourself gives you anxiety in the pit of your stomach, or you feel it in your heart, or you feel it really in your throat, like your throat is closing off, like an allergy or something, this is one you're going to want to tune into, because you're going to get a lot out of this. Or if you're afraid or worried to express your thoughts, your opinions, your truth, because you think others are going to judge you, oh man, you and I have to have a chat, and we're going to have a chat during this video. And if conflict is your worst nightmare, trust me, I saw this a lot in my Facebook group. If you're not a part of the Facebook group, I highly suggest you join it because it's always hopping in there. But so many of the women in that group said the same thing, that conflict is their worst nightmare, that it actually buckles their knees. And I want to give you some strategies that are going to help you and support you in coming to a place where conflict doesn't feel as scary. It might be uncomfortable, but it's not scary. If you want to learn to be more open and speak with more clarity and be more confident, I'm hoping you will get and will be able to put a lot of these strategies into place. And if you're at the point, let's be real. If you are at the point, if you are beyond ready to start voicing your opinions because you're over having to keep your opinions to yourself, this video is custom tailored and created for you, because nobody deserves to feel like they don't have a voice. Period. If you could hear my stomach growling, I'm sorry. The microphone might be picking it up. But anyways, let's move on. I have a lot of other points, but I think this pretty well covers it. And you know, I do want to make one last point. If it feels easier for you to repress than to express, you tuned in at just the right time. If you're thinking to yourself, like, it is easier to repress my feelings, repress my thoughts, repress my voice, because then nobody will ever judge me or reject me or think ill of me or be mad at me. If you think that that is the answer as opposed to expressing your true nature, I want you to listen in, and I want you to spend the whole time listening and writing things down and absorbing all of the information that I'm speaking and then working towards integrating it. But before we can do any of that, we have to have a solid definition about what self-expression is. So the American Psychological Association, or the APA, says that self-expression is the free expression of one's feelings, thoughts, talents, attitudes, or impulses through means such as verbal communication or body language. Merriam-Webster, who we haven't seen in a while. I used to use Merriam-Webster a lot, but I haven't gone back there. But I wanted to see what they had to say about self-expression. And they said that self-expression is the expression of one's own personality, assertion of one's individual traits. So no matter which way you cut it, no matter which way you slice it, self-expression is one of the key aspects of what it means to live the human experience. Being true to yourself, being true and expressing yourself is so detrimental to your health and well-being. Because if you feel as though you cannot express yourself and you have to repress all of those feelings, that you are going to inevitably start feeling such as, you know, depression. You could be having anxiety around it. You could start feeling low, like nothing matters, like you don't matter. That's the danger of consistently repressing your emotions consistently repressing your voice and your authenticity, is you'll begin to feel like it never matters. And once you start going down that spiral, it can be really difficult to pull yourself out. And if you're in that spiral, if you identify and you say, hey, I'm already there, I already feel like my voice doesn't matter, nobody wants to hear it, so I'm just going to keep it to myself, I want you to know that's okay. I want to validate that you are in that position because something has happened along the way, but there is a way out. So do not fear, I've got your back. And I want you to know this inability to speak your voice, it breaks my heart. Seeing all of the incredible women in my Facebook group say that they don't feel safe enough to express their true authentic self or express themselves verbally using their voice is earth-shattering to me. And it's earth-shattering because I have been there too. But I've also gotten myself out of it. Now I just use my voice consistently. Believe it or not, you might find this shocking, because I put out so much video content now. I mean, I'm just like pumping it out. And video is one of the best ways that I like to express myself to you and to educate you. But I used to be terrified. Prior to starting this business online, the thought of actually showing up on social media, showing my face and using my voice was enough to just like give me so much anxiety, get the stress hormones going, all of that stuff. You would never believe it today, because now I've stepped in it, now I own it. But at the time, it was really difficult for me. But I was able to find that voice. I was able to recognize that my voice is my gift, and using it assists in supporting other people, assists in supporting other women. I hope with every video that I create that I serve as an inspiration for all of you to start finding your own voices, your own passions, your own purpose. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Anyways. But it took me a really long time to get here. And it took, you know what? It really took me being like, okay, you know, who cares what people think? People are going to have opinions. There's no way to stop people from having opinions. Some people might be watching this video and think I'm full of it and be like, ah, she's totally wrong. But that doesn't, at the end of the day, that doesn't matter to me, because ultimately there are people with whom this is going to land and with whom this is going to resonate with. And that's more important than my own fear. That's more important than every single hater or troll or whatever you might want to call it out there. Using my voice helps other people. So even if it makes me uncomfortable, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I am not the one that truly matters. It's all of you that do. So let's continue on. So I wanted to actually discuss how this happened, because you didn't just feel like you couldn't express your voice or express yourself overnight. So what transpired along the way to get you to where you are now, to get to you to where you fear actually speaking aloud or being your true self? And really, ultimately, at the end of the day, this all boils down to fear. We've talked about fear so much in all of the videos that I've put out for you. Fear can wreak havoc. And a lot of times fear is rooted in habitual thinking and habitual thoughts, and might not necessarily be 100% true. So let's break it down. This is how you might have come to this place. First of all, it could be a learned behavior. Think about your childhood just for a minute. And I want you to kind of think back and really analyze some of the things and the messages and the programming you were taught as a child. How often did your primary caregivers, or maybe your primary caregivers, were of the impression or of the thought that children should be seen but not heard? Think about that. There's a lot of kind of old school people. And I mean, I think nowadays parents are more cognizant in terms of allowing their children to have a voice, allowing them to have autonomy, allowing them to have an opinion. But back when I grew up, and even back beyond that, there was this thought that children didn't deserve to have a voice. They didn't know what they were talking about. So if you're programmed with that messaging from your primary caregivers in your formidable years, meaning, kind of before age 8, if that was the consistent messaging you heard and you grew up with, that's in your foundation. Those are your values now. You're bringing that along with you, and you're still carrying it with you today. Unless you've had that recognition of, hey, wait a minute, is this true? Is this not true? Is this actually valid? Do I really believe that? Or was this something that I was told? Is this something that's just been on repeat since the time I was really small, and it's not really necessarily the case anymore? So your quieting of your self-expression can very much be a learned behavior. Another reason you might not feel safe enough to express yourself is just that. You have issues around trust and feeling safe. You have learned, or you have been let down many, many times in your life, over and over and over again, by a multitude of different people, that you learn not to trust. That you learn that using your voice isn't safe. That people have beat you down for it, or let you down, or anytime you've used your voice, you've been told that your opinions don't matter. Maybe you're in a relationship where your significant other was like, oh, just shut up. Honestly, your opinions don't matter. They're not valid. Maybe that was messaging you received from somebody that you loved and held near and dear to you, and now you have issues around trust. That could be another reason. So I want you to really think about these and notice which ones apply to you. Notice which ones hit home to you and which ones resonate. Another reason could be low self-esteem. I grew up with terribly low self-esteem as a kid. It was horrible. I didn't look like the other girls. I didn't sound like the other girls. I have a lisp, which, I mean, I still work on hiding it even to this day, but I did go to speech therapy and all that stuff, but it was something I was really self-conscious of. And it was something that speaking, like people seeing my lips and seeing my tongue in the wrong spot and my lip going up to the side, I felt like I couldn't use my voice sometimes because I didn't want people to make fun of me. And that low self-esteem is going to make it so you lack the courage to use your own voice. You have difficulty mustering the courage to speak up for yourself and to shine your light. You fear that what you have to say won't be received well and others might judge you. And when you already have low self-esteem, when you're already struggling with that, further rejection is going to just be devastating to your heart and soul. So instead of using your voice and speaking authentically, you decide to repress it as a means to keep yourself safe because of that low self-esteem. Another really powerful reason, and we kind of talked about this as we talked about it being learned behavior, is societal expectations. And this is a big one. I have it like in bold writing in my notes here because, and if you think about it, especially in the time of social media, I was really, and maybe a lot of you can relate to this. I didn't grow up with social media. Obviously, I had a rotary telephone at some point. And if you want to talk to your friend, you had to you had the really long cord, like the phone cord, and you had to go from the kitchen to the living room. I grew up without social media, so I didn't have these societal expectations the way kids do now. Growing up as a child now must be so much more difficult than it was for me. But keep in mind, even still then there were societal expectations, right? And so many of you may have grown up feeling like we talked about earlier, like you weren't entitled to a voice. Like you didn't have the right to a voice. Especially now, this is an interesting time in terms of societal expectations too, because a lot of people are of the opinion that if you don't follow the one collective opinion, you aren't allowed to share what your thoughts are, that it's not safe. And that might resonate for a lot of you right now, especially in the times we're in. But I'm going to leave my own opinions about that for another time in another video. Anyways, the final reason is fear of rejection. Fear of rejection can keep you from using your voice in an authentic way. You have a deep-seated fear that someone might reject, judge, or criticize you, and you just don't feel like your heart and soul can take it. And this is huge. This is so huge, all of these fears, but there's a way to get through it. So I want to share with you some ways. I've kind of put a list together of ways you can start to express yourself more openly. And this is going to help with just speaking your truth, living authentically, coming into a place where you're engaging in conflict. I do want to say, because I don't have anything specifically here about conflict, but this came up in the Facebook group a lot. In terms of dealing with conflict, nobody finds it comfortable. Even if you are a master of conflict, it's still going to have those moments of uncomfortability. But the key here is anytime you're in conflict with someone, or you have to give them news, or you have to, say something that could entice conflict between you and the other person. Number one is remember to always come from a place of love, a place of kindness, be as professional as possible, especially with regards to, delivering news that might not be well received, and come from a place of love. It is always in the delivery, always. And if you can engage with someone, and if you can speak to someone knowing that you want to come from a place of compassion and love, that you don't want to hurt them, but there's something that you need to be able to tell them, that you need to be able to express to them. Maybe it's something around your boundaries, like they violated one of your boundaries and now you want to bring it up to them and say, hey, like you've violated one of my boundaries. We need to talk about it. And they might not take it well. They might not take it well. That's the reality of it. But at the end of the day, you need to speak that truth in order to be able to continue having a relationship with that person. And if that person isn't willing to receive that feedback, if that person isn't willing to be open and say, hey, I can see your side of the story, you need to ask yourself, does this person deserve a seat at my table? Does this person deserve to be within my inner sanctum? Does this person deserve to be as close to me as they are? And if the answer is no, because they can't engage with you in a way where your opinions are being heard, it's time to reassess if they really belong there or not, or if it's time to start to cut away some of those individuals that are a little bit toxic in your life. But that is just a little bit of a caveat on conflict. So let's keep going. How to begin expressing yourself more confidently. Number one, impress yourself first and foremost. What does that mean? This is going to sound silly, but it's true. Realistically, you're the only person that you really need to impress. You don't need to impress Frank or Jill or Andrea over at the Racket Club. It doesn't matter what they think. What matters is what you think. Impress yourself. Impress yourself. And this came up as well in the Facebook group too. People actually said, because one of the questions was like something around expressing yourself confidently. And a lot of people said, I struggle with it, but when I do it, I feel so proud of myself. That's that's what I mean by impressing yourself. Make yourself proud for using your own voice, because your truth is more important than the opinions of others. Your confidence is more important than the opinions of others. And the more you embrace this, the more you share your opinion, the more you express yourself, and the more pride you have in yourself for doing so, the more confidence it will build. Right? And I have a little quote here. It's from Raw for Beauty. It says, in the end, people will judge you anyways. No matter what you say or how you say it, whether you say it in your true authentic way or you say it based on what you think someone else might like to hear, they're going to judge you anyway. So in the end, if people are going to judge you anyways, don't live your life impressing others. Live your life impressing yourself. So impress yourself, number one. Number two, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? If you share your voice, what is the worst thing that can happen? If you share your humble and honest opinion and share your truth, what is the worst that can happen? The person doesn't like you? Okay. They don't deserve to be in your inner circle. They haven't earned a place at your table. That's the worst. What they're going to point and laugh. That was my biggest fear with being on social media, that people were going to point and laugh. Like they were going to do like the Simpsons thing, like, ha ha, or something like that. I'm sure my partner just heard that. I was like, what is she doing? Anyways, that was my biggest fear. But when I did it anyways, when I came into social media and I started using my voice authentically, nobody laughed at me. In fact, people were like, thank you. Your message is supporting me. Your message is helping me. Thank you. And the more I heard that, the greater the confidence was. And now it's easy peasy to jump in here. It comes naturally. But what's the worst that could have happened? They could have laughed at me. Okay, my videos aren't for you. What is the worst that could happen? And maybe they're going to challenge your opinion. Cool. Let's have a back and forth. If someone wants to challenge your opinion and you're strong in your thoughts, yes, let's have a back and forth. Not to argue, but to share each other's opinions. We are human beings. We are meant to be connected to one another. So this is an amazing opportunity to share thoughts, to share perspectives, to learn something from each other. Someone challenging your opinion isn't a bad thing. It just gives you an opportunity to learn more and to learn their perspective. It's a beautiful gift. So, number two, I'm very passionate today, as you can see. It's the dress, I swear. Anyways, number three, standing for something is better than standing for nothing at all. Let that sink in for a minute. If you've been repressing your opinions, your thoughts, your truth, your authenticity, what do you stand for? You're just being the person you think people want you to be. But standing for something, having opinions, that is who you really are. And you deserve to be able to feel safe enough to express them. And this can be a challenge. This can absolutely be a challenge. But really, and I don't say that to be mean or insulting, but I want to challenge you to push the envelope. Reconnecting to your voice and standing for something, even if it means you rub other people the wrong way, is better than standing for nothing at all. Who are you if you don't stand for anything, especially for your own truth? Think about that. Just kind of let that sink in. Because once you start sharing your opinion, once you start opening up and you speak authentically, you will automatically start to make manifest people that are like-minded. You'll start to call in your people that are cool with you expressing yourself, that want to hear what you have to say, that are ready and excited to hear your voice. And those are the people that are going to stick with you thick and thin. And, you know, maybe even your own family might not like your opinions. Maybe your own family will be like, you know what? I don't care what you have to say, and that's okay. Because just because they're your family, if they don't let you have a voice, you can find and cultivate a family that is found that will treasure your opinions and treasure your authenticity. Number 4 is practice non-attachment. This is going to be tough for some, but it's important. So you need to start letting go of what you think the outcome might be. The brain can be finicky. She is a fickle being. So your brain might be telling you that if you voice your opinion, somebody's going to make fun of you, reject you, point and laugh at you. But is this actually, do you have evidence to support the thought in your brain? Practice non-attachment. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. It doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what people think. And I know that's very cliche and we hear that a lot. Everybody is telling you who cares what people think. But the goal is to practice non-attachment. No matter what the outcome is, you're going to be okay. You can do hard things. You have been through challenges in your life and you can do it. So practice non-attachment. No matter what happens, that's whatever they say to you, whatever the reaction is, that is on them. It belongs to them. It is them. It's not you. If you're living in your truth and standing in your authenticity and expressing yourself confidently, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. That's on them. It's not on you. Remember that. Number 5, interpreting the past in a new way and shift your perspective. So as we discussed today, a lot of your fear around self-expression is likely something you picked up from your childhood. So start becoming curious about why you're still hanging on to that old thought process. Challenge it. If it's something that your parents made you feel like children should be seen and not heard, start to challenge that. Get curious about it. Like, wait, do I actually believe that? Do I actually believe I wasn't entitled to a voice, or is that something I just heard? If your teacher told you you talked too much, stop talking. You don't have anything valid to say. Ask yourself, wait a minute, is that actually still the truth? Get curious about it. Interpret the past differently. Maybe your teacher went about it in the wrong way. Maybe they wanted you to think twice before you expressed yourself, but they didn't share that in a way that really would resonate with you, and it came off the wrong way. Challenge your obstacles, challenge what you were told, challenge the narrative, and start to develop a new set of values for yourself, a new foundation for which you can build your self-expression on. Number 6, give yourself a chance. Though it might not seem like it now, there is incredible freedom with being your true self. You just haven't gotten there yet. Think about it this way. Give yourself a chance. Who knows what can happen? There is freedom in being your true self. And I want you to think about this too. Think about the amount of energy it takes for you to keep a mask on, for you to be someone you're not, for you to not express your emotions or your opinions. How hard is it for you to keep that up? And if you can use your energy to be your true self, you're using your energetic currency in a way that's more for you than for the other person. It takes a lot of effort to keep up appearances, a lot of effort to be somebody you're not. So take a chance. Give yourself a chance to be you. You will thank yourself later. It might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. It might not be in a week, but eventually you will thank yourself for using your energy in a way that's better for you and being your true self. Number 7 is challenge your programs. Ask yourself what you learned as a child is even still applicable. We talked about this earlier. Perhaps you've been hiding your true self because you are still tethered to the opinions of those in your childhood. That was then, this is now. So really challenge those programmings. Challenge what you learned and determine if it's still something that resonates with you. Number 8 is be your own cheerleader. I love this one. You might roll your eyes. I can hear you rolling your eyes. I believe this to be true in my own heart, so I'm going to share it anyways. Can anyone really be more hurt by you not expressing yourself than you? I'm going to say that again. I wrote it down because I think it's that important. Can anyone be really hurt more by you not expressing yourself than you? If you continue to reject who you are, there is more damage being done that you are doing to yourself than anyone could actually do to you. So be your own cheerleader. Be proud of yourself for expressing yourself, even if it's on a small scale. Give yourself that rah, 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 and be like, you know what? People might not like what I've said, but it doesn't matter. What matters is I'm being true to me. And finally, my friends, start small. This is not, like I said in the beginning of this video, this is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take little by little by little. So, find your most trusted friend that you've actually still been hiding yourself from. The person that you know isn't going to judge you or shame you or any of those things for being yourself, and start opening up to them. Start using your voice with them. Because when they don't have the reaction you think they're going to have, when they actually have a relatively good reaction to the things you're saying, you can use that as evidence to move forward. You can use that to build confidence. Start very small. Take baby steps. Baby steps lead to big goals, or it leads you to the ultimate goal with teeny tiny baby steps. And if self-expression, my friend, if self-expression is something that you really struggle with, maybe you've been littered with self-doubt or negative thoughts or fear, I want you to reach out to me. Let's explore or examine if there is a way that I can support you in making your way through this and doing it together, working collaboratively. But with that said, that is all I've got for today. I hope you have the most incredible day. Thank you so much for joining me as always. And again, if you have any ideas or any topics you'd like to see me cover, please leave me a comment. I am always happy to oblige. I'll see you soon.